In this demonstration, we're going to have a quick look at Performance Monitor. Performance Monitor is a utility we get with the majority of Windows operating systems, certainly all of the modern ones, that allow us to have a look at the performance of our CPU, memory, disk and network. So I've come onto my Windows 10 PC, and on my Windows 10 PC all we're going to do is click our Start button, start typing in Performance, and then we'll click on Performance Monitor, and that launches up Performance Monitor for us. So what we have when we first start up Performance Monitor, if we just come into Performance Monitor, the only thing we're really monitoring at this point is, as we can see down here, our percentage processor time. Now the chances are we're going to want to actually monitor more than that. And one of the things we can do is we can add additional values or additional counters to our performance chart. So we just click on the plus button, and when we click on the plus button, what it shows us is it shows us the additional available counters, and as you can see there are quite a few of them. So what I'm interested in is I'm interested in my disk. So if we scroll down, what I'm looking for here is I'm just looking for my physical disk. So back up again, and there's our physical disk. So we'll highlight our physical disk, and what I'm particularly interested in is my C drive. So what we'll do is we'll go for our C drive at this point here. We'll just add that across. So what we've got is we're going to have a look at information relating to our physical disk. So what we'll do at this point here is we'll just select OK. And as you can see, we get a few more counters coming in here. Now these can be a bit difficult to read if we just highlight each one individually. So what I'm interested in here is if we just click on the column, just so we can put everything in alphabetical order. If I scroll this down, I'm just looking for counters relating to, let's just pick idle time. So really kind of pick that out. So what we have is we have a highlighter button, and when we click on the highlighter, we can now see that that counter has now been highlighted. Another thing we can do is we can just right click and we can come to properties, and on the properties we can, if we want to, we can change the color as well. So I could decide I want it green, maybe I want it as a larger width. So at this point here, scale, I'm happy with the scale in place, so we can click OK. And we can see it's now green, and we can see that line's thicker than the other lines. So what we're getting with this performance monitor is we're getting real-time data. That's brilliant, so we can see in real time what's going wrong, but what we might decide to do is we might decide to collect some data, and when we collect that data, then what we'll do is we'll then analyse that data at a later date that's more convenient for us, and we can do that by using a data collector set. So data collector set, as its name defines, is it collects data for us. So we have some system created data collector sets. We've got a system diagnostic and system performance, but what we can also do is we can also create our own. So if I just come to my user defined and right click, I can select new and create a new data collector set. So what we can do is we can give it a name. I'm just going to call it CPU and disk activity. Then what we'll do at this point here is ideally we should really create from a template. So what we're going to do is we're happy with the template at this point here. So what we'll do at this point here is select the next button, and now what we'll do is we'll just go for basic for the data collector set. So as you can see, we can use this template to create a basic data collector set, so I'm happy with that. So we'll select next. So at this point here, I'm happy to put this data collector set into this default location, so we'll just select our next button again. On the part that we have here where we're going to select some information, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to open the properties for this data collector set, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to select the finish button. That opens up properties. So on the general page is just general information. So it's giving us general information about exactly what we're doing. We could add in some keywords to make it easier to search. We're going to run this as system. On the directory tab, so on the directory tab we can see where we're going to create the data collector set. We're not going to create a subdirectory. If we were, directory would be based off the date. Then what we have is we have a security tab. So on the security tab we're seeing exactly who can actually manage and utilize this data collector set. We have our schedule tab. So in our schedule tab we could schedule this to run at a certain time. So if we think we have an issue, or we've been told we have an issue between the hours of 12 PM and 2 PM, we could actually schedule the data collector set to start at, well, whatever time we want, to be perfectly honest. Then what we have is we have a stop condition, so we'll specify when we want to actually stop the data collector set from running, so we can schedule it to start and then specify how it's going to finish. So we can stop this based off either time, or we could do it on data collected. So I'm just going to go for my overall duration at this point here, and we're going to say let's increase that to 30 minutes. So we'll run our data collector set for 30 minutes. In the units at this point here, so we've got minutes, seconds, hours, days, weeks. Let's change that to 30 seconds. We then have the task tab. So in the case of the task tab, what this does is this enables us to run scheduled tasks when the data collector set stops. And we can use this process, the collected data, and then if we're happy with everything, we just select OK. So we've now created this data collector set. Now if I come down to my reports at this point here and go for user defined and have a look, we do have our CPU and disk activity, but we have no reports. So what we have to do to actually generate some data is we do have to start the data collector set. So what we would do at this point here is we just come to our data collector set, and then we can right click and we can click the start button. Now what we see is it now generates a report. So to review the report, we just click on the report. It goes away, collects our data. This data is based off the data collector set we created. So the more counters we add, the more information we're going to get back from this report. So what we'll do, just get this to finish. I'll just actually stop my data collector set because I do actually want it to create some data. So as you can see now I've stopped it. It's now going to generate the report. And within the report, what we can then do is we can get information relating to the things that we're concerned about. So we can see information relating to the data we've collected over that time period. And that's the end of this demonstration of using performance counter, our performance monitor, and also as well data collector sets. Thank you.